Yeah, this is Jeff Scott, and I just wanted to get part two done. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Dr. K Tradestation Tools. As I mentioned before, I've had the opportunity of meeting some really cool people. I buy their tools. If I like them, I actually call them up and talk to them, get to know them, and sometimes I'll even help them by introducing them to people I know, and hence I've done a couple of third-party webinars. I had the integration of John Person stuff into HGSI, and I've been able to bring you some big discounts. The reason why I get the discounts is simple. When you go to a webinar and you see multiple people there, typically one person has put them together and he'll take an affiliate fee or a percentage of the purchases. I don't need your money. I got plenty of my own. So I just tell them to give you a bigger discount. So certainly the discount that Sager's offering of free with a purchase of a data subscription is pretty impressive. Let me show you Dr. K's new tool set. Unfortunately, his links didn't work for me today, but I can talk through a little bit about what his offer is. And if you email me at hgsidoc@gmail.com, I can get you some more information. So, disclaimer, I'm probably not going to talk a lot about individual stocks. This is more about a tool, but I'm independent. I'm a doctor, not a broker. This is all for education, and anything I suggest I might buy is hypothetical. It's 4:13. The market's closed. I'm not buying anything right now. I mentioned in the first video the Q deal. It's a phenomenal deal. You get his tools for free. You either have to buy a end-of-day Metastock package or a real-time Metastock data package. You need to be new customer for Metastock, and you need to buy it from a link on his website. If you do, it triggers his tools for free. I don't spend as much time in the Discord site as I'd like to because it seems like I'm either doing webinars for you guys or working all day long. But he's in the website posting stuff all the time. He's a super, super duper nice guy and also a damn good trader. And he calls out his trades in advance. I mentioned before Dr. K has a Tradestation package. I'll show you a little bit about that tonight. But for both Tradestation and Thinkorswim, his package includes a watch list scanner. I'll show you that tonight. His Laguerre RSI, which he's customized as well as a scanner. His Stochastics, which he's customized as well as a scanner. And the base package, where you're really, the key is that watch list scanner, is $9.99. This is in TOS. I haven't seen the prices for Tradestation. I expect them momentarily. If you add the seasonal indicator, which I would in a heartbeat, is $17.99. I paid more for just that indicator without the watch list before. And then you get all the things above, and then he has a mentoring offer as well. Why do I like this? Well, those who followed me for years know how much money I've made for myself and others on certain trades, like the Netflix trade. This is not a great seasonality time of the year. I'll just say it right now. It's not the greatest time. But there are a number of programs out there. I own them all. Magenta, Best Choice, and Seasonalitytrader.com. They all have their pros and cons. They've all gone through recent, over the last few years, transitions and ownership. But they all have one thing in common. They have monthly fees that they expect you to pay, and they don't integrate with Thinkorswim or Tradestation. So let's look at Thinkorswim. They ended up, no big deal. This would be pretty much what you could build out yourself with a few extra tools. And let me just clean this up because a couple of them are from other people that you don't have access to unless you buy them. Let me just see if I can clean that up a little bit. Let's see if they're in this one or not. Yeah, they still are. I'll talk about the things that you don't have to go out and buy, plus the Laguerre indicator. So this here is Netflix, and Netflix has been very strong of late. It's one of my positions. It, I guess, was up a little bit today, gapped and didn't do anything, up $2.27. I might wonder, Let me pause and get that. I'm sorry. Yeah, as I said, between webinars and work, I don't even have time to go to this great site. All right, so let's look at Netflix. There's a couple things I want to show you on the chart. Number one, the Laguerre RSI, and I don't understand the math behind it, often corresponds with a John Person signal. But basically, when you're crossing out of green into black, is going to trigger a buy signal. Okay. When you're crossing out of red into black, it's triggering a sell signal. I've been trading it, I've been watching it, and I've been impressed that it's actually a pretty good indicator of when to buy and sell. Now, within the tools that Dr. Keith has is a scanner for the Laguerre RSI, and I believe it's this thing here. And so I could look at ring, and it tells me that within the last, I think, 2 bars, it crossed above, or 3 bars, it crossed above the green. And it's given me something to look at the chart. So the scanner turns green. I know on Tradestation I could make it so it's just today or yesterday, but it shows me stocks that have had a momentum move to the upside. So it's just another tool in the arsenal. Here's a stock that's going sideways. It comes out of the green box prior to its uptrend. It's not perfect. It's a nice thing that helps me find stocks going in a move. His stochastics are here, and there's a way, actually I didn't put the stochastics on the chart, but the stochastics is another thing to look for moves in stocks. The piece de resistance of Dr. K's stuff is his seasonality. You'll notice here is a watch list, which you can detach and put on another monitor. But this is a watch list called New Yearly Highs. Okay. And I wonder if any of these have good seasonality. So in this column here, you either have nulls, a green one, or a red one. If you have the green one, it means you have the minimum number of years of data, and going to the right, you have at least one period, and here I'm looking at 20, 40, and 60 days, one period with at least an 8% return in the market. Now, if you look at, let's see, which one do we want to look at? Let's look at QDEL. Let me just close this down because I still have it back there. QDEL has been on fire. I have this friend Charlie, he's probably going to kill me because I told him 5 years ago or 8 years ago to sell it. 8 years ago was a good time to sell, but it doesn't mean you can't go back in. Hold on a second, let me address that. Okay, so this tells me here, QDEL, 20 days has an average return of 4.89, 40 days 11.1, and then 13 point something in 60 days. I may want to look at a stock that has positive seasonality. I certainly would be hesitant to short a stock with that seasonality. Now I can look over here on the chart, and in white it went back X days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 15 days, 3 weeks, and said, based upon what the stock was doing here, the white line is predicting where the seasonality would go. And you could see it's clearly going up. Well, the stock has already had a huge run, and now it's just adding on to this about, based upon seasonality, where your expectation is. Now, I think I'd probably be a little nervous because it's had a gigantic run because, of course, it's got something to do with coronavirus. Stamp. This is one that's interesting. It hasn't, well, it's already had its move as well, but it also has strong seasonality coming in. It's already breaking out. So I use this as a clue. Let's just look at Netflix from earlier in the year. So Netflix is my favorite seasonality play, and typically the great seasonality is around January. And what I know is that the day after whatever it's President's Day or Martin Luther King's birthday is Netflix earnings. It's after hours, and every year, 16 out of the last 17, on that day it's gone crazy up, even this year when people were concerned. So I look at Netflix today. It's a position I'm in currently, and I could have gotten back into Netflix here. I was already in it though. I could have gotten out of Netflix if I was a short-term trader at a higher point based upon the Laguerre RSI. That's not my trading style. But what I see here is the positive seasonality. So I'm able to pull out a list of my stocks, for example, and I could just say AMD. Let me make sure I got this set up right to be read. AMD. Great seasonality. Do I want it long or do I want to stay in it? It's going sideways here. I actually have a $55 put in that I was going to expire this week that I'll probably just take the money off of it tomorrow. Actually, it expires next week. Strong seasonality. All right, let's look at the next stock on my list. BABA, not old enough to develop the seasonality signal. This one killed me today, but it actually came back quite a bit. I thought I was going to have a horrible day today because last night it was trading at 708, actually 108, and finished at 121. This is Alteryx, so that's not. Let's look at Amazon. See, you got to have enough years. Is Amazon seasonality bullish here or bearish here? Pretty damn strong if you ask me. Now, Amazon is obviously an expensive stock, but you're going sideways, about to come out of your Laguerre RSI. Is this time to go long Amazon? Maybe. It's got great seasonality. So what I really like about this product is that I can look at my stocks and look at what seasonality is, and I don't have to go into another program. What this is missing in Thinkorswim, in my opinion, is the ability to scan the market and identify stocks that you don't know to put on a list. This one requires you to have a list, and you could look at performance on that list. One of my holdings, which I would probably not chase for seasonality, is Immunomedics, which it's interesting. It's already had a big run because they got their drug approved early. The reason why it runs up here, to me, it's obvious. And the reason is because every year in May, the American Society of Clinical Oncology abstracts come out. So you look at macrogenics yesterday. If you know that, and you know which companies are going to have cancer data presented, and you know what day the abstracts come out, you know which day the stocks are going to pop. That's part of why biotech's expensive. Now, let's look at Tradestation. So I just put this workspace together. I've been playing with it. I just got the tool to play with. It's still got an issue with it, which I can't change the color. One of these is 10 and one of these is 5 years of seasonality. And since I can't change the color, I can't tell you which one's which. It doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. In the Tradestation, you have the same things. You have the Laguerre RSI, and we could see that FAZ, one of the stocks I bought today, had a positive Laguerre RSI. Or is that the Stochastics? Hold on a second. No, that's the Laguerre RSI, should be positive on that. I don't see it. Maybe make sure it's on daily. And now it's on daily. And you could see the Laguerre RSI turned positive, and it actually wrote it on the chart from yesterday's chart. So this is one thing that I went long today, but mostly as a hedge. What else had a long Laguerre RSI? TZA also went long on this today as a hedge. And what else? How about VVXY? I did not go long this one, but it looks like from a Laguerre that it was signaling, it just didn't fire, it didn't break out above that. So you get the Laguerre RSI, which I showed you on Thinkorswim, and you have the radar screen. Again, I don't really use the stochastics. It's not my favorite indicator, but Dr. K has his own implementation of the stochastics. And you can find within the stochastics ones that might be giving a long signal or in a long signal or a short signal. I don't typically use the stochastic one, but he's got his radar for stochastics, and the stochastics are here on the chart with his buy and sell signals. Where it gets exciting to me is in this piece here, and the ability to look for seasonality over time. Now, I don't see the 1 or the 0, and I don't think it's on this platform, but what I can do is I can look at input 1, which is the same 20 days, and I could see this is the percent return for these stocks over the next 20 days. These will be up over the next 20 days, so here's that same Immunomedics. And you can see both the 10 and the 5-year are very powerful at this time of year. Dr. K is going to get me different colors shortly, he promised. Here is AMD that I showed you before, 10 years and 5-year return. I've got the Laguerre RSI put here on the weekly chart as well. This is a weekly chart, in case you didn't know. And the stochastics are down here. So I have these working for me as well. What else do I have to show you? So I've got the seasonality, the stochastics, and the Laguerre radar. I have the seasonality indicator, which I can put that on any of my charts. I don't have to have it on its own chart. And it goes on a weekly chart. And in one of my older versions, I've been testing it out for Dr. K. Let me just open up my advanced screener. I did it on a much busier workspace. At least I put in the seasonality indicator. I just want to show you, this one isn't as good. I have to put the new one in. It's coming. And what is this, PTC? And you can see here the seasonality indicator is plotting on my regular chart. Now, how much time would it save you to be able to plot seasonality on all your charts and not have to go to another program? Now, I showed you the radar screen. I showed you very briefly the implementation of his tool on the charts. Let me show you the piece de resistance. The piece de resistance is this, the scanner, that I could scan for what stocks. Let's just look at it right. Let's look at my edit scan. I'm looking for stocks that have positive seasonality. This is just how we find that. And I want to see those 3 columns. And what I set this for was 10, 20, and 40. And I'm scanning a list that I put together of the stocks that I follow. And what I found was, that scanning a list does not limit me to what's in my watch list. AAX on, okay, very bullish seasonality. Stochastic signal, the stochastic signal today, the Laguerre getting in a position where once it turns around, it'll fire. So I might be technically and seasonality aligned. ABMD, Abiomed. Look at the seasonality. Stocks already run a lot. Or if I'm on a bearish mood, I can see what in the market over this period of time. I'm not sure I'd be shorting this because I think gold is strong right now. But you could see the seasonality pullback and then higher. And a Laguerre buy on the weekly today. So the scanning function is really cool. So then I looked at stocks 20, 40, 60, so different numbers here. And over the 20, 40, 60-day period, Electronic Arts looks extremely strong. And you could see the 10 and 5-year seasonality is almost identical. And now what I'm playing with, and I don't have it working yet, but I'll get it, is how about understanding the seasonality on stocks that have earnings dates within X amount of days. So that's what I'm trying to build out here, and I'll have that scan done soon. So I think this is a great addition to my armamentum. The Laguerre RSI has a lot of value. I'm still playing with the stochastics, but boy, I can't beat having seasonality driven on my stocks. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. This is part 2 from today. Thanks. Bye.